Okay, guys, we're here on Weeping Willow. We're going for part two on trying to learn how to spot rod. I know this is overwhelming for a lot of people, so I'm looking to help some people on my friends list that haven't got started spotting yet, and anybody else that's watched this or just now unlocking Weeping Willow and curious on the spot. There's various spot videos on YouTube, but some of them are really confusing. I'm trying to simplify it the best that I can. I'm not claiming to be a pro at this either, but I have caught some nice um, oversized carp as well as it's improved the carp fishing here at Weeping Willow. Once you guys first get here, you'll notice it can get really, really slow, but this definitely make your fishing experience here a lot better. So we've casted out the starter mix. Now note that any of you guys that's done this before that might be watching this, normally we would put on a Captain 14 hook with probably Jamari fruit or Kamu Kamu, but some of those things can't not be unlocked until you're a higher level, so like in the 60s. So I'm using just sweet corn and peas for this. You can use bottom rods. You can also use carp rods, obviously, and put on. I'll just cast that out. Now, don't get discouraged if your first one's not oversized or the bite's a little slow. It still it'll pick up eventually, and you'll have more action than you want. And sometimes you might start off with a small one, but once it warms up, you'll normally get a nice size one or two oversized. And like I said, I normally would use a bigger hook, but it should still work on a 10-0. So I'm trying 10-0s right now just for the sake of the lower level guys to understand what's going on. And sometimes, like I said, it takes a little bit to activate before you get an oversized carp. So again, be patient. And also, kind of one little tip I'll show you. A lot of times, if you give it a little bit of time, once you get a bite, you'll kind of see the rod tip flatten out, and that's when you kind of can know which one's the bigger one. So if you're trying to juggle these and figure out which one you should pick up, so they'll look similar, but a lot of times I've been able to, I've fished enough, I can tell within reason which one's bigger or not. Every once in a while I'll get fooled, and this is common. It's the fish out there playing with it. And again, you can use a carp rod for this. Just cast your mix out and put on boilies or whatever. But it's a little cheaper when you first get to this lake to maybe start with some spotting first before you spend the money on all those carp rods. Something you'll want in the game later. But again, I'm trying to see how big this fish is. Letting that rod run for a second. This one may not be real big. Yeah, it's not. See, that rod really didn't flatten out. But I'm going to go ahead and pull it in. Okay, now I'm watching this one. Let's see what it does. Okay, see how that rod flattens out? That's when you know you got a nice fish. Now these things can fight pretty good. They could be, an oversized one could be, now this is just a generic starter mix. The advanced mix I'll show later. You can get up into the 90s with it and the 85. But anything over, in the 80s is great. Even the 79s. But this will make your fishing a lot better. Now the tricky part is, once you know you got a big fish like you got right here, I kind of just don't pay much attention to those. You can juggle them if you want, but once I know I got a nice fish on here, and you'll notice I'm not maxing my rod out on this, is because I didn't explain this earlier, but I don't, you don't want to use this rod in particular, I got fluoro leader on it, so I can't max it because they don't have a fluoro leader big enough to go over the 88 pounds. And when you first start doing this, don't be discouraged if you might get one in the 75 to 78 range, or even sometimes it'll miss and you'll just get a common unique. But there's a nice 75-pound carp just on a simple common mix. And what I generally do is just the mix, they say, can last up to 30 minutes or so real time. But a lot of times just fish this out since you've already got your mix out there. And just kind of wait and see, keep casting back out and see what comes in. But you will, even though it's the starter mix, you can get them in the 80s. But it's a good way and a good tip to just kind of get your feet wet, so to speak, on spotting. So we'll let this play out a little bit and see if we can get another one. Now kind of just keep a note of, since you've, I want to say that was a leather. Since I've caught a leather, there's still a mirror carp to go, and you could get a big common carp as well. So in other words, you put that money into the mixes, you might as well go ahead and let it play out before you rotate spots and do another mix. Now again, I'm using 10-0 hooks. Once you get up leveled enough, you can get the captain hooks, 14s, 12 and 14s. I would be using a bigger hook and hoping I can get something a little bigger. But I know when I started spotting and learned how to spot, it was so confusing. But I've got enough down I can have fun with it now. Again, I try to watch this rod for a little bit. You don't have to jerk it right away. Just kind of see. Sometimes it'll flatten out. Sometimes it won't. Yep. See how that should be a decent sized fish there. See how it's flattening out? There we go. And sometimes you'll just get, one oversized and a common carp that could be just your regular unique. That might be in the 40s. This could just be a regular common carp. Well, that's actually an oversized. Even like I said, this is a starter mix. Those things are only usually go about 40 pounds or so. But you do the advanced mix, they'll get up even bigger than this. But just a common carp. And the great thing is, it's just off of sweet corn, and you didn't have to spend a fortune on all your carp rods. So again, just let this play out and see what you get. This is all out of one mix, and that's the starter mix that I just showed you guys in the previous video. Oh, fudge. See, there's the difference between, that was a nice fish too. That's a perfect example. I didn't have that down. I had a fluoro leader on that, so it snapped the line. So, as you guys all know, everybody's broke line, but that was, see, I should have had that down one more click. See, that should have had a different row on there. But you can see how many fish you can sit and catch just off that spod mix and some corn. Corn and peas work just fine. So I'm going to reel this one back in, and I think you guys got the idea by now. But again, it's funny to see me break the line. It's been a while since I've did that. These rods I actually put titanium leaders on and fish for other fish. So I forgot to do the one click down. It's been a while since I've been carp fishing, but I was thinking of ideas to do today, and that would have been one of them. But you can see, again, this is another nice sized unique carp. And this will be the last fish. I don't think this is an oversized, but we're going to go ahead and reel it in anyway. Cannot believe I snapped that line, but hey, I'm not even going to take that out. Like I said, a lot of times when I put these videos up, it's just me raw fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the keep net. So that was pretty good. 3 uniques. I missed the one when I snapped my line. So, but just in general, that's what you got. And again, what I'm talking about, this is, you guys watched my past videos, fluorocarbon leader on there. So when I had that max tension, since the leader's lower than the line, it snapped the line. I needed to be one click down. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And again, looking at my inventory here, that's the starter mix I put in. The next one will be on the advanced, and I'll show you that upcoming with the bigger hooks. So hope you guys enjoyed. I know that was a long video, but looking around on the internet, it's very difficult to figure out some of the stuff. So I've got a lot of it down, and when I get it down, I can pass it down to some of you guys that are just getting to the Weeping Willow. It's a great lake. Give it a chance. You just got to learn some of this stuff, and I hope this helped all you guys. So take care.